My daughter and her husband arrived without warning. There was no phone call, no message, no polite knock asking if this was a good time. Instead, the doorbell rang sharply, twice in quick succession, the kind of ring that assumed urgency and entitlement rather than courtesy. I was sitting at my desk near the window, the same desk my wife Ruth had picked out 3 years earlier. Morning light spilled across the wood exactly the way she said it would when we first saw the apartment. "This is the one, Leonard," she'd said, standing right where I was now. "Look at how the light moves. It feels alive." She was right. It always had. I had been writing, or at least trying to. The notebook in front of me held half a poem, unfinished lines about memory and grief, about the way love leaves echoes behind even after the person is gone. 71 years of living had taught me many things, but it hadn't taught me how to stop missing her. The doorbell rang again, louder this time. I frowned. Saturdays were usually quiet. Most people in the building used the weekend to run errands or visit family. I preferred the silence. It gave me room to think, to remember Ruth without interruption. Reluctantly, I closed the notebook and stood up, crossing the living room she had furnished so carefully. Every piece had been chosen with intention. The couch by the window, the framed photograph of our wedding day, the small plant she insisted would bring life into the space. I reached the door and opened it. 5 people stood in the hallway. At the front was a woman I recognized vaguely from around the building, a realtor, I realized a second later. She wore a professional smile, the kind practiced in mirrors, and held a leather folder close to her chest. Behind her stood 2 strangers, a man and a woman in their early 40s, well-dressed, expectant. The man held paperwork. The woman clutched a designer purse like a status symbol. And behind them, standing slightly apart, were my daughter Kristen and her husband Shane. Kristen wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mr. Carter," the realtor said brightly, "perfect timing. We're just showing the unit." I blinked, certain I had misheard her. "Showing the unit?" I repeated. "Yes," she continued smoothly. "Mr. and Mrs. Parker are very interested. Your son-in-law arranged the viewing." The hallway seemed to tilt. I looked past the realtor, past the strangers, and locked eyes with Shane. He smiled, not warmly, not kindly, but with the quiet confidence of someone who believed the outcome was already decided. "Leonard," he said, stepping forward, "we need to talk. There's been a development." "A development?" I echoed slowly. Kristen shifted behind him, her hands twisting together. Her face was pale, her jaw tight. Still, she refused to look at me. "Perhaps we could step inside," the realtor suggested, already leaning forward. I didn't move. "No one is stepping inside," I said calmly, "until someone explains what's going on." The couple exchanged an uncomfortable glance. The realtor's smile faltered. "Dad," said Shane with a sigh, "we're trying to help. The market is strong right now." "This place," I interrupted quietly, "is not for sale." "That's what we need to discuss," Shane replied, glancing back at Kristen as if expecting her to support him. She didn't. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, and something twisted painfully in my chest. It wasn't confusion on her face. It was guilt. She knew. She had known they were coming. She had known he arranged this, and she said nothing. "Kristen," I said softly. She flinched as if I had struck her. The realtor cleared her throat. "Mr. Carter, please leave," I said. Silence followed. "Excuse me?" the realtor asked. "All of you," I said, my eyes never leaving my daughter. "Get out." Shane's jaw tightened. "Leonard, you're not thinking clearly." "I'm thinking very clearly. Leave." The strangers didn't hesitate. They backed away toward the elevator, murmuring apologies. Sensible people. They recognized a family war when they saw one. The realtor hesitated, torn between professionalism and discomfort. But Kristen, my daughter, still wouldn't look at me. Standing in the doorway of the home Ruth had chosen, I felt a realization settle heavily in my chest. This wasn't just Shane's doing. Kristen had been part of this from the beginning. "Leonard," Shane said again, his voice adopting that careful patience people reserve for the elderly, "this place is too much for you. Living alone at your age, maintaining a place this size, it isn't sustainable." I looked to Kristen, silently begging her to stop this. She stood behind him, arms wrapped around herself, as if holding something together that was about to fall apart. "Dad," she said finally, her voice thin and shaking, "you're alone here. You could come live with us. Owen would love having his grandfather close." Owen, my grandson, 8 years old, gap-toothed, obsessed with dinosaurs. Hearing his name used as leverage made something cold settle deep inside me. "I'm not leaving," I said. Shane sighed and glanced back at the realtor hovering awkwardly nearby. "The market value here is over $1 million, Leonard. We're talking about your future, your security." $1 million, I repeated, studying him. "That's what this is about." "We've consulted an attorney," Shane said calmly. "Everything will go smoothly if you cooperate." Cooperate. The word hung in the air like a threat. I turned to the realtor. "May I have your business card?" "My card?" she asked. "Yes, for my records." She handed it over. I placed it carefully in my shirt pocket. A witness. Then I faced the hallway. "This property is not for sale," I said evenly. "It never was." The realtor and the strangers retreated. Shane lingered, his hand firm on the realtor's elbow as if guiding her away. "He'll sign," he whispered to her. "My wife will make sure of it." Kristen flinched. They disappeared around the corner. I closed the door. The apartment felt smaller now, not from age, but from threat. Whatever papers they planned, whatever pressure followed, one thing was clear. This fight was no longer just about property. It was about protecting my daughter, and I would not fail her again. I stood by the door long after they left. The silence that returned wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the apartment itself was holding its breath. Ruth's carefully chosen furniture surrounded me, unchanged and innocent, unaware that something ugly had just pressed itself against the walls. Morning light still streamed through the window exactly as she had wanted. That felt almost cruel now, proof that some things remained steady, while others quietly rotted beneath the surface. My daughter was afraid. Not of me, of him. I hadn't wanted to admit it while they stood there, but now, alone, the truth settled fully in my chest. Kristen's silence hadn't been agreement, it was fear. Fear disguised as compliance. I needed air. A few minutes after closing the door, I stepped into the hallway. The narrow corridor felt smaller than usual. The hum of the building, the distant sound of elevators and footsteps pressed in on me. Ruth's absence felt louder here, echoing off the beige walls. "Leonard?" I turned. Dorothy Bennett stood in the doorway of apartment 41A, 3 doors down. She was 73, a retired teacher who'd lived in this building longer than I had. Ruth liked her immediately. They used to share coffee in the mornings, trading stories about books, grandchildren, and the quiet disappointments of aging. "I saw what happened," Dorothy said gently. "Well, I heard it, too." I nodded, too tired to pretend otherwise. She stepped closer, pulling her cardigan tighter around herself. "I know exactly what I just witnessed." I frowned. "You do?" She met my eyes. "I've seen it before." The words sent a chill through me. "Seen what?" "5 years ago," she said slowly, "my daughter tried the same thing. Brought a realtor to my door. Said I needed to downsize. Said I'd be happier in a facility. Said it was for my own good." For your own good. Shane had used nearly those exact words. "What happened?" I asked. "I fought," Dorothy said simply. Got a lawyer. Documented everything. She let out a humorless laugh. My daughter had already filed for guardianship, claimed I was mentally incompetent. My chest tightened. Guardianship? That's the play, she said quietly. They declare you incapable, get a judge to approve it, then they control everything, your home, your money, where you live. The hallway suddenly felt colder. All legal, she continued, if they convince people you can't make your own decisions. I thought of Shane's confidence, the realtor showing up as if the sale was inevitable, Kristen trembling, silent, trapped. But your daughter, Dorothy added softly, she looked terrified. Did you see that? I did, I said. Then she's not the one driving this, Dorothy said. Someone else is pulling the strings. She paused, then squeezed my arm. That doesn't change what you need to do. If they filed paperwork, and I'd bet they have, you need legal help today, not tomorrow. I nodded slowly. I know someone. Good, she said. Call him now. And Leonard, keep track of everyone who was here. Names, times, what was said. That realtor especially. She's a witness. My hand instinctively went to my shirt pocket where the business card sat. Thank you, Dorothy. She smiled sadly. Ruth was a good friend. I'm not letting someone take her home from you. Back inside, I picked up the phone. Arthur Sullivan answered on the third ring. Arthur Carter, he said warmly. It's been too long. My son-in-law is trying to take my home, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I think he's using my daughter to do it. I need help. There was a pause. Then Arthur's voice shifted, professional, sharp. Tell me everything. Start from the beginning. I did. An hour later, I stood outside Alan Garrett's law office in uptown Charlotte. Arthur had been blunt. Go there now. Shane mentioned Garrett's name. That means something's already been filed. The building was all steel and glass, reflecting a city that moved quickly, impatiently. Garrett's firm occupied the 8th floor. I rode the elevator up, my hands steady despite the anger coiling in my chest. The receptionist looked up as I entered, young, polite, trained. Do you have an appointment? I'm Leonard Carter, I said. I'm the property owner in a matter Mr. Garrett is handling. I don't need an appointment. Her smile faltered. I'll check. The door behind her opened. Alan Garrett stepped out, mid-50s, expensive suit, the kind of man who solved problems quietly for people with money. Mr. Carter, he said carefully, your son-in-law said you'd agreed to— I haven't agreed to anything, I interrupted. I want to see every document with my name on it. His jaw tightened. He gestured toward his office. Come in. Dark wood, diplomas on the wall, a city skyline view meant to impress. Before he could open a file, I stopped him. I want the current property record, printed, today's date. Garrett hesitated, then turned to his computer. I watched his face as the screen loaded. His expression changed completely. He leaned closer. There's a lock. A lock? I repeated. He read aloud. Transfer restriction. Owner alert. Identity verification required. He looked up at me. When did you place this? I didn't. When was it placed? He clicked again. 3 days ago. 3 days. Dorothy's warning echoed in my mind. Who placed it? I asked. It was automatic, he said slowly. Someone attempted to file transfer documents. The system flagged it and placed a protective hold. My heart began to pound. I tried to transfer my property? Yes. Garrett leaned back, unease now visible on his face. What documents did Shane give you? A power of attorney and a petition for— His desk phone rang. He answered. I watched the color drain from his face as he listened. Yes, he's here now. He hung up. "That was the recorder's office," he said. "They want to speak with you." "About what?" He swallowed. "Fraudulent instruments submitted for filing." The door opened without a knock. A woman entered, calm and authoritative, county ID badge on her blazer. "Rebecca Walsh," she said. "Recorder's office, fraud prevention." She looked at me. "You're Leonard Carter." "I am." She turned to Garrett. "You're the attorney who attempted to file transfer documents." Garrett shifted. "I was acting on behalf of my client." "We'll get to that," she said evenly. She set a tablet on the desk and pulled out a camera. "Mr. Carter," she asked, "did you authorize anyone to sell or transfer your property?" "No." "Did you sign a power of attorney recently?" "No." She nodded and turned to Garrett. "I need everything you received from Shane Mitchell." As she photographed each document, the door burst open. Shane strode in. Kristen followed. "What's going on?" Shane demanded. "Dad, why are you making this so difficult?" Rebecca looked up. "You're Shane Mitchell." "Yes." "You have a forged power of attorney," she said flatly, holding up a document. "Mr. Carter, is this your signature?" I glanced at it. It wasn't even close. "No." Shane stiffened. "The notary verified it." Rebecca examined the seal, then dialed a number on speaker. "Ronald Chapman? Yes? County Recorder's Office. Did you notarize a power of attorney for Leonard Carter 3 days ago?" A pause. "My certification expired last year." Silence filled the room. "The seal is expired," Rebecca said. "The signature is forged. This document is fraudulent." Kristen's voice shook. "Shane, you said it was legal." "Not now," he snapped. Rebecca glanced at her tablet. "There's another filing, a petition for guardianship." The words hit me like a blow. "Someone is trying to have you declared mentally incompetent," she said. Kristen whispered, horrified. "Guardianship?" Before I could speak, the office door opened again. Arthur Sullivan stepped inside, and everything changed. Arthur's presence shifted the room immediately. He was 62, silver-haired, calm in a way that came only from decades of seeing people try and fail to get away with things they never should have attempted. He nodded to me first, a quiet reassurance, then turned his attention to Rebecca. "I've been reviewing the filings remotely. Forged power of attorney, expired notary seal, fraudulent guardianship petition supported by a falsified medical certificate, attempted property transfer." He looked at Garrett, his voice still calm but edged with steel. "They would have succeeded if the owner alert hadn't flagged it." Garrett's face drained of color. "Counselor," Arthur continued, "you filed a guardianship petition without notifying the alleged incompetent. You attempted to process a property transfer based on forged documents. That's abuse of process." Garrett opened his mouth, then closed it. "Did you meet with Leonard Carter before filing?" Silence. "Did you verify his signature?" Nothing. "Did you confirm the medical certificate with Dr. Reed?" Garrett's hands were shaking now. "I trusted my client's representations." Arthur's eyes hardened. "That's not good enough, and you know it." I turned to Shane, the man I had welcomed into my family 8 years ago, the man I had trusted with my daughter's happiness. "You were going to erase me," I said quietly. "Declare me incompetent, take my home, lock me in a facility, and you used my daughter to do it." Shane's jaw worked. "You don't understand the pressure I was under." "Pressure?" Kristen's voice cracked like glass breaking. "Shane, you threatened me." She turned to me, tears streaming. Dad deserves the truth." She drew a shaky breath. "He said if I didn't help sell your apartment, he and his mother would file for custody of Owen. They'd claim I was unstable, that I was depressed, that I'd lose my son." The room went very still. "They used Owen to threaten you?" I asked. Kristen nodded, sobbing. "I was terrified. I couldn't lose him. I thought you were just moving in with us. I swear I didn't know about the nursing home. I didn't know about any of this." I looked at her and saw the truth clearly now. Not guilt, fear. Rebecca's tablet chimed. She glanced down, then looked up sharply. There's a prepaid reservation at Cedar Grove Assisted Living, 6 months paid in full. She turned the screen toward us. Memory care wing, secured unit. Kristen's voice was barely audible. Memory care? Shane snapped. It's what's best for him. You lied to me, Kristen said, her voice rising. You said he'd live with us. You said Owen would see him every day. Arthur stepped forward. Mrs. Mitchell, did you know about Cedar Grove? No, Kristen said immediately. No. She looked at me, desperate. Dad, I didn't know, I swear. I believed her.
Rebecca's expression hardened. Mr. Mitchell, there's another detail you should know. Your mother booked a one-way flight to Las Vegas, leaves tomorrow morning. Shane blinked. What? No return flight, Rebecca continued. Extended stay hotel booked. Arthur added quietly. She planned to take the money and disappear. Shane sank into a chair, the fight draining out of him all at once. She wouldn't do that. She needs me. She used you, Arthur said, just like you used your wife. 3 generations. That's what I saw in that moment. Kristen manipulated by Shane through threats to her child. Shane manipulated by his mother through fear and debt. And me nearly erased entirely. Rebecca tapped her tablet. We're calling the police. When the officers arrived, the room transformed from tense to final. Shane was placed under arrest for fraud, conspiracy to commit elder abuse, forgery, and abuse of process. Kristen stepped away from him. We're done, she said, her voice shaking but firm. You threatened our son. She moved closer to me, choosing her side at last. After they took Shane away, Arthur handled the legal aftermath swiftly. The guardianship petition was dismissed. The property lock remained in place. Dr. Reed was flagged for investigation. Garrett would face disciplinary action. When the room finally emptied, Kristen and I stood alone in the hallway. I don't expect forgiveness, she whispered. I just want you to know I thought I was protecting Owen. I thought you had no choice, I said, but you should have come to me. I know, she sobbed. I can't trust you yet, I said honestly, but I won't abandon you. That was the line, not forgiveness, but a door left open. Later that evening, I sat by the window again, Ruth's photograph beside me. I kept our home, I whispered, but I almost lost our daughter. Dorothy knocked with a container of soup. You shouldn't be alone tonight, she said. She was right. The next morning, sunlight filled the room again, exactly as Ruth had promised it would. And for the first time, I felt truly safe in my own home. If you want to hear more deep and meaningful life stories like this one, please make sure to subscribe to ZERIX Truth. Your support helps us bring more of these incredible journeys to light. Thank you for being a part of our community, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.